Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. But for our radio audience tuning in at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all can be with us. Also, just joining us through iHeartRadio and Amazon Music, we're glad you all could be with us as well. This is part of a Music and Youth segment here at WYAD, and today we're talking about myopia. Myopia is an epidemic, according to the American Academy of Optometry. Nearly 50% of North America's population will have myopia by 2030. So why has myopia become increasingly common among kids and adults? Joining us today to discuss this, as well as the only FDA-approved treatment on the market, we're excited to welcome Dr. Felicia Timmerman to our broadcast. She's a pediatric optometrist at CooperVision. Dr. Timmerman, thank you so much for the time today. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks, Cyrus. I'm excited to be able to speak about this topic today.
The pleasure is definitely all mine. So, Dr. Timmerman, how big of an issue is myopia in childhood development, and how many are affected by it?
Yeah, so myopia, which is also known commonly as nearsightedness, is going to impact distance vision and how we see everything clearly out in our distance visual world. And why this is so concerning is that, as you mentioned, by 2030, 50% of the North American population is projected to have this condition. And we're seeing an overall increase in prevalence in children. And not only that, we're actually seeing them develop this at much earlier ages, which is concerning, because the earlier the onset, we see the faster the progression, meaning changes in that prescription year after year.
Well, that is good information. And again, as I've heard about this over the years, Dr. Timmerman, it definitely does seem as though it is something that's becoming more common for people to be able to hear about. So what are the causes and the warning signs our audience should know about?
Yeah, so genetics, of course, does play a role in the overall development of myopia, but also the way that we're living our everyday lives with those near devices is also having an impact in the development and progression of myopia. So more screen time is having that impact. So we definitely want to limit that as much as possible to have the biggest benefit in being able to slow that progression and also being able to increase outdoor time. So we do see that as a protective factor of either delaying or preventing the onset of myopia. But we're also finding this benefit in being able to slow down the progression as well with that increase of time outdoors.
Interesting. So that means there's something that all of us can do. I'm sure that's going to take some self-reflection for a lot of people, Dr. Timmerman, because it seems like all of us are glued to our screens these days. Are there any treatment options that our audience should know about?
Yeah, so there's great news. We have an FDA-approved product called MiSight One-Day Contact Lens, which is a daily disposable contact lens, meaning a fresh pair every day. And it does two benefits for the child. One, it's going to correct their vision to allow them to see clearly in their everyday lives, just like they would in glasses or standard contact lenses. But through the innovative technology of these lenses, it's also able to slow down that progression of myopia. So we're not seeing those big changes in their refractive error or their prescription year after year. Now, this is going to have a huge benefit because we know that if we can slow down that progression, that uncorrected visual acuity when looking out in the distance is going to be less blurry. But also, it's going to have a huge benefit in minimizing the risk of any eye complications later in life that are associated with myopia. And the great news is that these lenses, the MiSight One-Day Contact Lenses, are FDA-approved for children as young as 8 years old.
Great news, again, for our audience, especially for those that are concerned about how it is impacting those that are younger as well as adults. So what about for parents out there, Dr. Timmerman? Anything that they should be aware of or anything they should be doing?
Yeah, always looking for the signs of myopia in your child. So squinting, having a hard time identifying things out in the distance. If they're saying anything about headaches or they're moving closer to see things clearly. And, of course, going to the CooperVision MiSight website. So that's MiSight.com to learn more about myopia and, of course, the MiSight One-Day Contact Lens to really see if your child is a candidate for it. but I always recommend those annual eye exams with your eye care provider just to make sure those eyes are healthy. And, of course, if the child does develop myopia, to catch it at the earliest possible.
Oh, you just brought up a really good point, Dr. Timmerman. So when we're getting our regular eye exams, is that something that they normally check for?
Absolutely. So that's a lot of times whenever they're doing that prescription check, sometimes behind those big glasses to see if there's any change to get you seeing clearly either at distance and up close. So they're always checking to see if your child does have myopia. So we do want to make sure that we do go in for those annual eye exams because in children, this onset can be quick and that progression can be rapid. So we want to catch it at the earliest possible and definitely treat at the earliest possible to have the biggest benefit on these children's lives of how they're seen every day, as well as what those complications could look like later on in their future.
Great information. Again, everyone, Dr. Felicia Timmerman has been our guest pediatric optometrist at Cooper Vision, talking to you guys about something that all of us should be interested in, and that is myopia. And again, the website that she mentioned there is mysight.com. That's MISIGHT.com. We're going to link that up on our Facebook page for the radio side. For those joining us via the podcast, we will make sure that we link that up as well. Dr. Timmerman, thank you so much again for the great information. Really appreciate it. And looking forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time to this topic.
Hey, glad to have you. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live, again, part of our News and You segment here at WYAD. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's go make today amazing. Take care.